He moves the mouse to the encoder. Day 9 presses scene 1 and introduces the show. Welcome to Day 9 Daily number. He forgets the number again. Shit, he thinks, loudly. Oh well. Into the game, Sean presses the button. We talked a little bit about how we're going to see the micro from part 2. And the mobility concepts from part 1 in this part 3. So let's see it in action. This part 3 will be the synthesis of what we've talked about going on in every which way in this, that, and the other. So first, fast mutalisks are a very nice tool to freak a mecher out. We have these banshees being like super annoying and like powerful and potent and stuff, but even 6 mutalisks is enough to really force containment behavior. I mean, like, what really can the Terran guy do? He can say to himself, I will not prepare for roaches. Actually, I even saw a comment about this on Twitter, that it's easy to look at the last game and go, oh, well, dude, he didn't prepare for roaches. That was rather dumb of him. I mean, there's no way to properly prepare for that, because prepare would involve lots of excess tanks, which would eat into the Thor count. And remember, if you're ever low on Thors, you run the risk of immediately losing to somebody who built more mutalisks. More importantly, if you build too many tanks, the Zerg can even look and go, oh dude, what are you doing? And just build mutalisks and kill you. So we're going to see a sort of similar thing here. It's the threat of switching to whatever tech the Supernova's weaker against. That's the threat. We saw the switch to roaches and the switch back to mutalisks both hurt Supernova in the last game. So we see Leenock again not valuing gas, valuing minerals. He's going to get roaches up as well, present the threats, make his opponent aware. Poking around. I mean, we have some Banshee harass. This is generally the tool that the Terran player, the Terran meching player, will use to try to keep a Zerg buddy back. But this is, again, the moment where I think it's most easy to be a little lost. Leenock is just getting himself a lot of harassment things. +1 range for roaches. Burrow. He's getting some Mutalisk attack. He's getting some Glial reconstitution. What is the next step? We normally think of next steps in build orders as being things like, alright, I'm going to get my infestation pit to get the next round of different units up, because different is better in many builds. You get up to higher tech. No, you know what the next steps are in this build? Expanding. Here's a good place to expand. Here's a good place to expand. Whatever's farthest away. Let's go ahead and check the pulse of Supernova, who's built Thors, and Thors galores. And wow, again, only just now being able to get tanks. Pretend for a moment if Supernova had skipped, let's even say, one of these Thors. If we look at the amount of gas available to Zerg, especially considering the roaches that have been built, that's 16 roaches plus 7. 16 plus 7 is 23, I'm going to round up to 24. 24 divided by 4 is 6, that's 600. Plus 600 here is 1200. Not including the gas that could have been mined here, so there's likely 20 to 22 mutas against 2 Thors and some Vikings. That actually goes in favor of the Mutalisks when they are spread out properly. I did simple maths to show that it's still incredibly threatening, even in these small numbers. And Leenock knows it too. He's going to take opportunities to engage, and yet again, you could say, well, gosh, he really needs to get another tank. Let's do the even more simple analysis. Would one tank have stopped this from succeeding? If you said no, then you are correctamundo. This is why we see these geysers being last on the bucket list. Lots of lings, lots of roaches, lots of counterattacking threats. Very, very easy to force back a meching player. These losses were not catastrophic, especially given that Supernova has done some damage himself. This is actually a pretty fine position to be in, a pretty normal position. But look at this, added value. Yeah, burrowed roach. Leenock going nuts with drones. Excellent. Supernova's only just recently gotten his extra tech labs going. And this is one of the beauties of getting up these very, very early hatches to get all this extra larva. This is going to permit Leenock to be able to build whatever he so needs to build, should an attack begin coming. But most of the time, the counterattacks are an incredibly big threat. So great, Leenock taking out these rocks. Ooh, an infestation pit and a hive coming soon. I bet that means he's going for something like vipers or ultras. He's not. P.S. He's totally not. Leenock opening that up so we can continue to expand to the far reaches of the map. I dig it. Upgrades. Massive amounts of upgrades. 74 drones. Getting a hive up. Now, larva-wise, Leenock has oodles and oodles and oodles of larva. Can do the big switch at any time. He can flood a whole bunch of roaches. If he sees like too many Thors and not enough tanks, he can flood a whole lot of mutalisks. If he sees almost no Thors. But the big, bad, most important unit of all is the mutalisk in this one. We see Leenock trying to find a counterattack opportunity. He's not getting it. He's just expanding. Expanding his little heart out. Look at the money going up. Has roaches prepared for a counterattack here. Has a small force prepared for counterattack here. Poking in there. See some banshees. Nifty, 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 nifty. Mules are going to go maybe make an attempt. So what I like about this game is that we got the chance to see previously a kind of action-packed lot of battlings going on, but very often when you're up against a mech, it'll be one of these, dude, this guy's actually like not moving out. And if we get a sense of what the unit mix is, it's about to be 7 Thors, excuse me, 8 Thors. A lot of Hellbats, a lot of tanks. Let me actually just show the army. A lot of tanks. 4 Thors here. There's the 5th. And there's 6, 7, and 8. Down the hatch. I'm starting to see Leenock really favored to gas, and without really even seeing that much, we see mutalisks start to get built in really big numbers. Now here's a moment that I just love as an illustration. Leenock got a hint that Supernova was moving out, and counterattacked so frickin' fast. And this is doomed. This is destined to fail. But he's annoying. He's trying to keep it back. Oh my god, this expansion that went up. Oh no, that's gonna fall for Leenock too? Yuck. And guess why we got the hive as Leenock? Because we want to make sure we can get those +3 ups, baby. So all the minerals for Leenock being spent on spines and drones and occasionally some lings. A lot of mutalisks being produced as well. Again, using the magic box technique of clicking on the back. So here's what's nice. Leenock has the opportunity to decide, do I want to fight this? Or do I want to counterattack? What do I think is better value? So if we take a look at the upgrades, we have 2-2 versus 1-1, which was almost what we tested. And we tested 9 versus 40. And here there's 6 versus 44. You actually feel like Leenock could battle this and win, given good control. Leenock feels like this is a higher percentage play. And all these options are totally legit. Lings and mutas and threats, oh my. Stuff getting wrecked left and right. More mutalisks getting produced. Seems very weird to get that many mutas. But this is what I love about what Leenock does. He moves up and kills the expansion. He makes sure to try to keep his critical bottom right expansion alive. And I think, honestly, like, the biggest champion of this game is this Banshee. It killed off 12 drones and the hatchery. Leenock really knows that that's a super important base. But now Leenock, having killed this off, should be at 3 base versus almost no base because it's like mined out. And that's one of the reasons why Leenock went for that. Because it's really, really, really clean way to have an economy versus a Terran with no economy. And then just some simple rebuilding ensues. Again, a little bit of a rough spot for Leenock, just due to the loss of this bottom right base. But in terms of the engagement, Leenock isn't even going to do the most amazing flank on this. But I mean, 6 Thors, no problem. These ones got slightly bunched, but the ones at the back bunch up a little more. And yeah, basically no losses for Leenock. What seems like the most counterintuitively wrong thing to do against Mech, to mass up mutalisks, is working out amazingly when it comes to these final engagements. So let's actually come and count the mutalisks. Before and after. 53 going into the engagement. And these are 2-2, almost 3-3 Thors, like about to be. 53 mutas to start. And there's auto-repairing SCVs, and he loses 7-8. Okay. Now, Leenock has had some unfortunate things happen twice. He didn't deal with a Banshee, and it killed this entire base and all the mining workers. Whoops. He had an engagement where he slaughtered it, but engaged slightly too late and lost this base as well. Whoops. These are, in the grand scheme of things, very avoidable flubs. What I'd like to emphasize as being unavoidable is how well Leenock is doing in these engagements. And Leenock takes a whole bunch more Banshees. I mean, it's kind of funny that, like, what should be the most threatening part, which is these big, massive armies going toe-to-toe, is not at all what Leenock's struggling with. And I'm more than confident in saying that in your games, remembering to build a spore or repositioning some units to deal with these is very intuitive to fix and not a big deal. What Leenock's doing that I find amazing is this mass mutalisk. And he can switch back and forth between roaches, this, that way, and the other. I mean, Leenock should have 6 gases going, but he still doesn't need 6 gases going. All the while, Leenock is actually right-clicking on the minimap. He has this army and he's right-clicking here as far away from the mutalisk as possible. If you wanted these mutalisks to move here, he would right-click on the minimap way over here. Again, to make sure that they don't accidentally box. Because, I mean, they accidentally box once and then the game's over. You just lose all your mutas. Like here, this is the scariest thing I've ever seen in my entire life, which is why Leenock is flying away from where the Thors could be. And is being extremely cautious with them, because they bunched up. Perihelions not going to do so much. We actually have 10 Thors here. 10 Thor. How does 10 Thor compare against all these mutas? In your experience, when you're playing against Mech, you will have the opportunity to engage much earlier. We got 40 mutas here versus 10 Thors. If there's some Thors here, you know what? Let's just go to where his bases are and kill those off. Pretty safe play. You'll have the opportunity in your games to engage sooner. This is going to look like a close finish because Leenock waits so long to engage the Thors. Sacrificing this base, I like. Leenock has sacrificed 1 mining base to ensure that Terran has no mining bases. And this is like a really nice opportunity for Leenock to just go, oh my god, free Thors. This is great. Look, I'll kill off some free Thors. Thank you. A little bit of clusterage coming up, but no big deal. Clustering against a Thor is not a big deal. 41 to 10. And at this point in time, Leenock finally busts out the Swarm Host at the very, very end. Not in a long, stale-matey, eye-rolly sort of context, but in one of the, like, well, you only have one set of scans. That sort of thing. I can't emphasize enough that Leenock is in way more of what looks like a close position than what he actually needs to be. He kind of accidentally lost some bases. And here, Leenock, by all measure, could probably take this on. Probably. It's not unreasonable to say that he could. We did the test, we saw the results. I didn't do extraordinary micro, I did 1 or 2 extra clicks. But Leenock's just gonna wait. I'm gonna say this for like the 1000th time. Let's pretend for a moment. Let's pretend for a moment that things went as they were supposed to. Let's pretend that Leenock made no errors. Let's pretend that this is how the game should look. Okay, let's just pretend with me this is how it should look. Leenock is in an overwhelmingly good position because of how strong the Mutalisks are in this final engagement. And look at this, easily flying up here, checking for additional bases. And what looks like it should be somewhat of a close fight is just not, thanks to this magic boxing. Oh, he clusters even there. Actually, if we take a look, it was, I think it was 40 Mutalisks before here. That's what I'm going to do. Oh, 41. Great. Clustered a little, shot at the cluster. 41, 38, 37. And... alright. From 41 to 36. And let's see what was happening on the ground as well. From 41 to 36 against 3/3 Thors, 10 of them. And broodlings fell pretty fast. There weren't that many drones. Swarm Host probably did a pretty significant impact, but... we see the magic of counter-intuition happening. So, here's my favorite description of this game. At all points in time, you want to have that like, oh my god, he has only Mutalisks, and the Terran has only Thors. Oh man, those Mutalisks are going to struggle. Can they do enough damage before they inevitably get destroyed by the Thors? And the answer is, well, yeah, they'll actually kill the whole map and kill all the Thors and lose almost none of them. Cool, nice, excellent. And these are not highly upgraded, these are 2-1. They only have the 1 armor upgrade against 3/3 Thors. I mean, it seems like that should be wrong. But let's talk about the key tenets of what made this possible. I'm going to step to this mid-game. Oops, I clicked too far. Yeah, here's where I want to be. If we look at this mid-game scenario, couple Mutalisks to be annoying and batter back, couple of roaches and lings to be annoying and counterattack, and massive amounts of expanding, massive amounts of larvae, 54 larvae in case of any attack coming in, Leenock can build the perfect set of units, either flooding out 50, 60 roaches like nothing, or building 26 mutas, because this is the resources that he has up there. We saw that any time Supernova attacked, he ran the risk of losing his critical bases. And that is the brilliance of this roach mutalisk focused composition. The more aggressive he is, likely the more roaches we'll build. We'll deal with that aptly and still continue to mass expand. And our end play is to flood with mass mutalisks. We're going to get a hive to upgrade mutalisk armor. We're going to get a hive for level 3 mutalisk armor and attack, because that is how important it is for our mobile units to be as strong as possible. And in the end, yeah, 40 mutalisks versus 10 thors feels like it should go in the thor direction. And having 40 mutalisks at all seems unusual, but having 5 bases with 10 geysers is virtually unavoidable against Mech. You can't even help but get that many bases. So, let's recap what we got the chance to learn. In part 1, we saw this very simple game, the idea of mutalisks delaying and messing up the composition so we can flood with roaches. We see that at any weak time, we can flood in with roaches and crush the front. And even if we feel like we can't crush the front, we can counterattack almost endlessly while mass expanding. It was a pretty straightforward cleanup win for Leenock. Just used mutalisks as, again, his final play to kill Supernova in an elimination race. It's way easier to win an elimination race against Terran than against Protoss. For Zerg, that is. And then in this game, we saw Supernova getting all the expansions up. There wasn't as much opportunity for Leenock to do big counters, but we still saw that counters allowed him to get up 50 frickin' mutalisks. Let's take some questions. Alright, so Hunt Soda 360 says, Day 9, how can Mech deal with well-microed mutas? That's a really good question. I mean, it's really horrible. You have to essentially hope that you can keep his mutalisk count in check. Also, little things like moving the thors back to kind of help them crunch together is good. Some other things. Seeker missiles aren't going to be that great because they're already kind of spread out. I mean, you can... Now, to be fair, one thing that we haven't really seen a ton of is the Mario Mech style of getting a lot of mines, like oodles and oodles of mines. We have not seen a lot of experimentation in that sector, so that's probably going to be the best key. But the reason I'm sort of stopping and going, is because of this moment. 4,000, 2,600. This is not a Zerg constantly building mutalisks. This is a Zerg waiting. Look, a few mutalisks get built. And then we have this expeditionary force. And then, okay, in this moment, I need to slow down to this. Okay, here we go. Here is what Leenock sees. Guide your eyes to the production tab. And all the mutalisks get made. As a response to seeing a very low on mine composition, Leenock floods lots of mutalisks. Leenock has plenty of funds to flood other units if he needs be. That's what makes me kind of go, because again, if we think about composition mushing on composition, we'd be like, yeah, mines are really good against mutalisks with Thor backup. But that's why Leenock waits, and it's really hard for Mech to deal with that. I'd say that there'd probably be some research in there, and once people have done it, I can look at the games and talk about them more clearly. There was a good question in here. I'm going to scroll up. Megatrolla says, hello, Day9. If you're not valuing gas at the 3rd base early on, how is it possible to get the sufficient number of mutas? And the switch to roaches is strong, but in my experience, not to compete with Mech. It's just come down to great micro with that boxing technique. Okay, so there was like 4 questions in there. I'll take the first 2. First one is, if we're not valuing gas at the third, how are we able to get up so many mutalisks? The idea is that you first focus on minerals to get a lot of bases and roaches, and that'll keep them defensive. And then you'll suddenly explode to 10 gas, and that's really it. It's better to do that, because if you hurriedly get gases 5 and 6 at your third, then you can't apply as much pressure, and it's harder to get your expansions up, and in the end you wind up with less mutalisks. That's the explanation. If you want the data, then you can just simply open up a game and do it against the computer. It will be evident really quick what your gas count is like. Just don't build any gas units. Simply pretend and make believe. And the other one is the Swift Roaches is strong, but not enough to compete with the Mech. See, that's the biggest thing to note, is that Roaches are rarely ever supposed to be directly fighting the Mech army. Mech mixes, like the factory units, pretty good against the Roach, with the exception of the Hellbat. That's kind of so the goal is to do as much counterattacking as possible. Roaches are good against like a Thor or two that are out of position because you're in the main base and he's not rallied properly. That's the real reason we're building it. So our goal is not to suddenly build a bunch of Roaches and hit his front. We may do something like see him moving forward with 4 tanks, 3 Thors, and some Hellbats, and go, what are you doing? And then build a ton of Roachling and overrun it. But we're not going to do it efficiently. We certainly will win, though. Oh, Pilch21, great question. What do we do against switch to Raven, Battlecruiser, Mine? A very popular thing. Viking is also a component to that. So what about a switch to Sky Toss? Not for the scope of this show. I will do that in a different daily. That is absolutely a consideration, but it would take me another 90 minutes. At least. Rizuna says that Thors have 2 firing modes. Is it possible they were in the wrong firing mode? I don't think so. They looked like they were in there. Come on, switch over, you Deutsch. Yeah, they're in the right firing mode. See, we can see because they'll fire 4 missiles at once. Here comes the shots. Also, right-clicking on a mutalisk is really bad. Let him fly free. God, that is beautiful. Alright, let's take one more question, then I'm going to go get some food. That's another great question, but I don't remember. Someone's referencing an old game, and I can't remember it. I don't know, maybe that's it. Maybe we're done. Do I think the other firing mode would have been more effective? Almost certainly not. That's just like guaranteed doom. I don't know, look, I'm hungry. I'm getting hypoglycemic or need my food. Thusly, I'm going to leave you. But you're all very pretty, and I'll see you tomorrow for a game that I'm bad at. Hearthstone.